Chapter 551-560. This gaze was very sharp and probing. Ever since Jian Yun appeared at the door, it had tightly locked onto her. Jian Yun immediately felt her scalp go numb. "Don't be nervous. I'm here." Hu Liancheng felt Jian Yun's body stiffen. He held her hand tightly and took a step forward without batting an eyelid. He used his tall body to block her gaze. Hu Liancheng's words seemed to have the power to calm people's hearts. Jian Yun looked up at him. His profile was perfect, like the most meticulously carved work of God. She could not see enough of him. Hu Liancheng sensed Jian Yun looking at him. He lowered his head and met Jian Yun's gaze. They saw deep and tender feelings in each other's eyes. Cough, cough, cough. But at this moment, it was quickly broken by a stiff cough. "Yun, quickly come over to Grandma's side and sit." Granny Liao ignored the cough and warmly waved at Jian Yun. Jian Yun turned her head and saw Granny Liao and Hu Qingcheng sitting together. Both of them were looking at her and smiling. She immediately revealed a smile and walked over with Hu Liancheng. "Grandma, Qingcheng." After a simple greeting, Jian Yun did not sit. Instead, she looked at the old man sitting at the head seat. Hu Liancheng stiffly introduced, "Grandfather, this is my wife, Jian Yun." Jian Yun tried her best to look calm and polite, "Grandfather." It was just that the old man's aura was too strong. His aura was very frightening. It was like needles piercing Jian Yun's body. "Knowing that she is your wife, there is no need to specifically emphasize it," the old man said snappily. Hu Liancheng ignored the old man and sat down with Jian Yun. "Kid, did I let you sit?" Old Master Hu was talking about Hu Liancheng, but his eyes were fixed on Jian Yun. Jian Yun's scalp went numb again. She could not sit or stand for a while. "Sit." Hu Liancheng wrapped his arm around her waist and pulled her to sit. Old Master Hu was about to flip out when Granny Liao had already slammed the table. "Hey, stinking old man. Do you want to cause trouble? Stop putting on that face of yours. If you dare to scare Yun again, go back to where you came from." Hey, old woman, can't you give me some face?" When Old Master Hu saw Granny Liao, he immediately shrunk his head back. The sharp aura of a superior that he had just released also changed in an instant. At this moment, he looked no different from an ordinary old man. He had white hair and a kind expression. Jian Yun looked at Hu Liancheng with surprise in her eyes. "Do you want some water?" Hu Liancheng was not surprised. "Sister, don't bother with Grandpa. He is just like this. Grandma must be angry," Hu Qingcheng also said with a smile. Jian Yun had not spoken to Hu Qingcheng since she came in. Now that Old Master Hu was present, she felt somewhat restrained. Although she wanted to ask Hu Qingcheng some things, she understood that this was not a suitable place. "Qingcheng lass, why don't you help Grandpa?" Old Master Hu was dissatisfied. He glanced at Jian Yun and sized her up with a scrutinizing look. "I think this girl is just as pretty as usual. How can she be as good as you say? Why are you both confused by her? Stinking brat, old hag, you too. From the looks of it, there must be something wrong with this girl." Jian Yun's mouth twitched when she heard that. It seemed that this old Master Hu did not like her, even though it was their first time meeting. "Grandfather." Hu Liancheng held Jian Yun's hand tightly, and his handsome face darkened. "Old man, you are the one with the problem." Granny Liao acted like she was protecting her child, and scolded Old Master Hu with a fierce face. "No one wanted you to come. It was you who insisted on coming. There's nothing to say here when you come." Old Master Hu was very unhappy when he was scolded by a few people. He looked at Jian Yun with slanted eyes. "I am just expressing my opinion. Why are you guys so excited? It's not like you guys like her. I have to like her too." "Of course you don't need to like her. She is my wife and not someone like you," Hu Liancheng retorted bluntly. Old Master Hu's face froze. He was about to get angry, but when he saw Granny Liao's angry look in the blink of an eye, he immediately became listless. He waved his hand. "Forget it. Let's not talk anymore. You stinky brat already cooked rice and rice. What use is there even if I object? If you're hungry, serve the dishes and eat. At least you're sensible." Granny Liao turned pale. Old Master Hu looked at her and turned to Jian Yun with a kind smile. He held her hand and asked caringly, "Yun, when you are with this kid, he did not bully you, did he?" "No, Grandma. Liancheng is very good to me." Jian Yun smiled sweetly. "That's good." Granny Liao suddenly changed the topic and asked with a smile, "Then, when are you going to give me a great-grandson?" "Soon. Xiaoyun's answer was too quick. For a moment, she blurted it out without thinking. When she regained her senses, the corner of her mouth twitched. Hu Liancheng raised his eyelids and looked at Jian Yun. Granny Liao advised, "Yun, although you are not old, Liancheng is not young anymore. It is already too late to get married in his 30s. Quickly give birth to a child. Otherwise, in another 2 years, it will be difficult for you to have a child if he is not good in that aspect." "Grandma, is there anyone who speaks like this?" Hu Liancheng's handsome face turned green when he heard that. "What did I say wrong? Aren't you in your 30s? How do you know that in a few years' time, your sperm quality will be able to keep up?" Granny Liao said with a sullen face. Xian Yun did not think that Granny Liao would talk about this kind of topic here. Her face was so embarrassed that it was about to burn, and she could only pretend to be calm. But at least she was someone who had experienced it before. There was still Hu Qingcheng, this little girl, and she was so embarrassed that her head was lowered to her legs. Old Master Hu still had a straight face. "Grandma, are you sure you want to discuss my ability here?" Hu Liancheng was really helpless. Only then did Granny Liao realize that Jian Yun and Hu Qingcheng were embarrassed by her words. She could not help but laugh and smooth things over. Grandma used to be a doctor. These are all occupational diseases. Let's not talk about this anymore. Eat and eat. Jian Yun immediately let out a sigh of relief. However, before she could finish her breath, Granny Liao reached her head over again. "Yun, go back tonight and chat on WeChat. Grandma will teach you how to get pregnant easily." "Milk. Grandma, this is not necessary, right?" Jian Yun awkwardly pulled up the corner of her mouth, but her eyes were full of blame as she looked at Hu Liancheng. Sigh, it was not that she did not want to be pregnant. It was that Hu Liancheng was not happy. What could she do? Hu Liancheng naturally heard Granny Liao's words and received Jian Yun's gaze. He only pinched her hand and did not express anything. Xian Yun's face was full of disappointment. She knew that Hu Liancheng's thinking was not something that could be changed with just a few words. Forget it, there was a long way to go. Let's talk about it in the future. When the dishes were served, the atmosphere was rather harmonious. Old Master Hu no longer had a sullen expression. After the meal, he chatted with Jian Yun. When he found out that Jian Yun's grandfather used to run a martial arts club, Old Master Hu's face was full of interest, indicating that he must pay a visit if he had the chance. After the meal, the few of them walked out of the Peach Blossom dock. Hu Liancheng went to drive the car while Jian Yun accompanied Old Master Hu and Granny Liao to wait on the porch. This private restaurant was very high class. Its name and building were both antique. The porch was also designed like the Suzhou garden. There were vines and plants everywhere. Even at noon, it was very cool. Jian Yun was chatting with Old Master Hu when she suddenly heard someone calling her. "Xian Yun?" Jian Yun frowned when she heard the voice. She did not want to bother, but that person had already walked in front of her with a face full of surprise. "It really is you." "Xian Yun, why are you here?" The person who came was Lin Lanlin. She was wearing a white cotton dress and her long hair was fluttering in the wind. She looked like a fairy, and her pretty face was also filled with surprise. Coming here, of course, to eat. Jian Yun had a biological dislike for Lin Lanlin, especially after knowing that she and Jian Dongming actually had such dirty thoughts. It made her feel even more disgusted. But now that Old Master Hu and Granny Liao were present, she did not want to leave a bad impression on them, so she could only restrain her temper and deal with Lin Lanlin. What a coincidence. I also came to eat, but I was at the nice hotel. Lin Lanlin quickly sized up Old Master Hu, Granny Liao, and Hu Qingcheng, who was sitting in a wheelchair. At the same time, she was also guessing the identities of these people. They could actually eat at the Peach Blossom dock. Today, Old Master Ming had important guests coming. Originally, she wanted to come to the Peach Blossom dock, but she did not make an appointment 3 months in advance. So they did not book a table, so they could only go to a 5-star hotel at the side. But at this moment, Lin Lanlin actually saw that there were people who looked like managers accompanying these 2 old people carefully. At that time, she estimated that these 2 old people's identities were definitely not ordinary. Perhaps these 2 old people's family? Xian Yun, aren't you going to introduce them? Lin Lanlin wanted to get to know them. Her target was Hu Liancheng. If these 2 old men were from the Hu family, then to build a good relationship with them, it would be 100 benefits and no harm to her. She might be able to win Hu Liancheng's favor. Xian Yun acted as if she did not hear Lin Lanlin's words. She turned her head and talked to Hu Qingcheng. Lin Lanlin was a little smug, but she did not want to give up such a good opportunity. So she took the initiative to greet the two elders. "Hello, I am Lin Lanlin, the assistant of the chairman of the Mings." Lin Lanlin thought that she was Old Master Ming's assistant. Even if the two elders did not think highly of her, they still had to give Old Master Ming face and reason with her. Who would have thought that the hale and hearty old man did not even give her a glance? Although the old lady looked at her, she had an inexplicable look on her face as if she did not know what Lin Lanlin was talking about. This time Lin Lanlin was embarrassed, especially when she just came over and specially brought a few secretaries from the chairman's office. She was thinking that even if Jian Yun ignored her, she could rely on her affinity and ability to curry favor with the two old people. She did not expect that these two old people would not give her face. However, Lin Lanlin also suspected that her judgment was wrong. These two elders looked very ordinary and did not have any expensive items on them. It seemed that they were just servants of the Hu family. Thinking of this, Lin Lanlin felt much better. At this time, Old Master Ming also walked over, because the Caillou Hotel was right next to the Peach Blossom Dock. He accompanied a few guests and happened to see Lin Lanlin, who came out first, standing on the porch in front of the Peach Blossom Dock and talking to two old men. Old Master Ming saw that these two old men were unfamiliar. When he looked again, they were dressed very ordinarily. He made a judgment in his heart. It must be an old servant from a big family who came to the Peach Blossom Dock with their master to serve them. So Old Master Ming walked over with his walking stick in an awe-inspiring manner. As Jian Yun stood with her back to Old Master Ming, he only saw Lin Lanlin being ignored by these two old men. She wanted to show how much she protected her employees in front of the guests. "Hey, you two?" "Right. That means you two, who are you?" "My assistant is talking to you. Why are you ignoring her?" "This is too rude. Do you know who I am?" Old Master Ming said aggressively with a dark face. "How would I know if you don't know who you are?" Granny Liao and Old Master Hu were not angry because they were recognized as servants, but Granny Liao had a bad temper. She could not stand this old man who was bossy, so she answered angrily. "You, what kind of attitude do you have?" This time, Old Master Ming's face could not hold it anymore. Today, these guests were all his old friends. He was actually looked down upon by a servant. If word got out, how awkward would he be? Jian Yun heard the voices and hurriedly walked over. She was just about to speak when she was stopped by Old Master Hu. Old Master Hu winked at Jian Yun. Jian Yun did not know what he wanted to do, but she obediently shut her mouth. Following that, Jian Yun was shocked. Granny Liao put her hands on her waist and pointed at Old Master Ming and scolded. "You, old man. I don't care who you are. This is my attitude. What? Do you have any objections?" Jian Yun looked at Old Master Hu and saw that the way he looked at Granny Liao was extremely pampering. She then looked at Hu Qingcheng and also had a smile on her face. She immediately broke out in a sweat. What kind of hobby was this family that allowed the old lady to quarrel? Old Master Ming was furious. His face was pale, and he kept hitting the ground with his walking stick. He could not say anything for a while. Lin Lanlin wanted to show off, so she tried to mediate. "Old lady, this is the president of Ming's." Lin Lanlin originally wanted to sell it well. Even though these two elders were not important people of the Hu family, they were still respected to be able to dine at the Peach Blossom Dock. She did not want to offend anyone from the Hu family. However, when Granny Liao heard about the Mings, she didn't react at all. In fact, she had a sarcastic expression on her face. What Mings? Where did this stupid company come from? Ming, Ming. 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 Ming, chairman? He, shameless bastard. How dare a small, lousy company call itself chairman? What a joke. Old Master Ming almost fainted from anger. He immediately said vicious words. "You crazy woman, come here. Go and arrest her. I want to see her in prison." "Can you still be so arrogant? You want to arrest me in prison?" Granny Liao's expression suddenly changed. Old Master Ming thought she was scared and said proudly, "What? I thought you weren't scared. Apologize now and I can consider keeping you for a few days less." "How many days less? Is the prison opened by your family?" Granny Liao's expression was cold. Old Master Ming did not notice that Granny Liao's eyes were turning cold. He still said arrogantly, "The prison. Although it is not owned by my family, everyone knows my reputation and status in King Hu. The two of you do not know. Where did this old thing come from? Lin Lanlin and the others were always there. Furthermore, they saw that although Jian Yun was talking to the pretty girl in the wheelchair, she did not care much about the old lady here, so she started to have bad intentions. It seemed that they were right. These two old men were not important people. They might not even be from the Hu family. Otherwise, Jian Yun would not be like this. Thinking of this, Lin Lanlin and the others did not try to persuade them. They walked to old Master Ming's side, one after another, and made their stand clear. They did not dare to offend old Master Ming just because they were protecting two ordinary old men. After all, in Green Lake, the Ming family could be ranked among the top 5 families. Especially after Hu Liancheng took over the Mings, the benefits of the Mings rose steadily. The industry insiders estimated that before the end of the year, the Mings would become the #1 family in Green Lake. Old Master Ming had been in high spirits recently. Today, his guests were the trusted aides of some important person in the capital. Their statuses were very noble. Therefore, Lin Lanlin didn't want to offend old Master Ming at this time. Let us disappear? I'm so scared. Granny Liao deliberately pretended to be afraid, but her face was full of ridicule, as if she had slapped old Master Ming's face. You old hag. How dare you talk to me like that? Come and catch her. Old Master Ming was ridiculed again and again, and his face was shaking in anger. He felt his dignity was provoked, and he went mad on the spot. As soon as he finished speaking, the Ming family's bodyguard immediately rushed over. Seeing that he was really coming to catch Granny Liao, Jian Yun could not help but become nervous. She was just about to go over and protect Granny Liao when she saw old Master Hu, who was as steady as Mount Tai, and stopped her from going forward. Take a few steps forward with a gloomy face. I want to see who dares. In an instant, that kind of powerful pressure that belonged to the upper class was released. A kind of fierce aura was like a thousand jinn boulder pressing on top of one's head, making one feel unable to breathe. Those bodyguards subconsciously took a few steps back, looking at each other in dismay, not daring to go any further. Old Master Ming was furious when he saw this. He hit a bodyguard with his cane. Move, and you. Call Chen Zhengnian to come over. I want to see whose territory this Green Lake belongs to today. Ming Daiyuan, do you think you deserve it? Old Master Hu said coldly. Old Master Ming was surprised. Today's guest came from the imperial capital. The more one looked at Old Master Hu, the more familiar he looked. Suddenly, he recalled something and immediately turned pale with fright. He quickly went to pull Old Master Ming. His head was full of cold sweat. Director Ming, quickly apologize. This is Old Master Hu. I don't care who he is. If you piss me off today, don't even think about leaving unscathed. Old Master Ming's eyes were ruthless as he glared at Old Master Hu and Granny Liao. He could not bear to lose face in front of a distinguished guest in the capital. Lin Lanlin secretly patted her chest. It was so dangerous. Just now, she wanted to establish a relationship with these two elders. Fortunately, she was lucky and was ignored. Otherwise, she would have to endure Old Man Ming's anger now. Jian Yun heard Old Master Ming's nonsense, and her brows were already tightly knitted together. It seemed that the Ming family's decline was reasonable. Even the head of the family, Ming Daiwan, was so brainless. What's more, the Ming family's younger generation almost went bankrupt previously. After Hu Liancheng took over, the company had just risen, but Ming Daiwan actually dared to be so arrogant. Sister, don't worry. Nothing will happen. Hu Qingcheng comforted Jian Yun. Jian Yun nodded. She also understood Old Master Hu's identity. It was impossible for him to not have bodyguards when he came out. The people from the Hu family must be at the side, but they did not come out without an order. It was just that Hu Liancheng had gone to get the car for too long. Why did he not come even now? Jian Yun was thinking when she saw Hu Liancheng walk over. Under the afternoon sun, the man's handsome face, which looked like it was carved by heaven, was as cold and calm as usual. His simple shirt and pants could not cover the natural noble aura around his body. Especially that powerful aura. It was as if there was a cold air around him as he walked. When everyone saw Hu Liancheng, they were all silent. Old Master Ming's anger was temporarily suppressed. He went to greet Hu Liancheng. At that time, he found that the police chief, Chen Zhengnian, who he had just called to look for, had also walked over behind Hu Liancheng. When Lin Lanlin saw Hu Liancheng, her eyes immediately lit up. Her heart could not help but pound wildly. This man was really too handsome. Hu Liancheng stopped under the doorway. His cold eyes swept across old Master Hu and Granny Liao. He stopped on the face of the furious Ming Daiwan and asked coldly, "What's going on?" "Young Master Hu, these two old fogies don't know how to appreciate favors. They insulted me," Ming Da said. However, before he could finish his sentence, his vision suddenly turned black. Then he received a loud slap. This time, everyone was stunned. They didn't know why this big black man who suddenly appeared would hit Ming Daiwan. One should know that Ming Daiwan was very famous in Green Lake. "Who? Who hit me? You? Who are you?" Ming Daiwan was also stunned. His face was burning. He was in his 60s. How could he bear this anger? He ordered his bodyguards, "Beat them. Beat them to death. Let's see who dares to attack." Chen Zhengnian took out his gun and pointed it at the bodyguards. "You, Chen Zhengnian, what are you doing?" Ming Daiwan snapped. Chen Zhengnian was his niece's husband. He had always been very respectful to him. He had just been promoted to police chief 2 days ago. Otherwise, Ming Daiwan wouldn't be so confident. Chen Zhengnian didn't say anything. His face was cold. Everyone was stunned. Except for the few people who had recognized old Master Hu's identity, they were all sweating. They had already cursed Ming Daiwan in their hearts. They had come today to get to know Hu Liancheng through Ming Daiwan. Their goal was to get to know the Hu family. Although the Hu family's business had shifted to the US in recent years, and their global headquarters were also in the US, the Hu's corporation's headquarters in China was still in the capital. In the capital, no one could deny the status of the Hu family, especially Mrs. Hu's family. When they thought of this, cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. Lin Lanlin wanted to show off in front of Hu Liancheng, so she walked out at this time and deliberately put on a gentle look. She explained, "President Hu, I think there must be some misunderstanding. The sun is so poisonous now, and the chairman is old and his health is not good. Why don't we find a place to sit down first and explain it clearly to both sides?" Lin Lanlin's words were said after careful consideration. She only mentioned the misunderstanding and did not mention the quarrel between the two sides. This way, no one would be offended. Ming Daiwan looked at Lin Lanlin with approval in his eyes. Lin Lanlin was still speaking up for him at this time. After this matter was over, he must reward her well. Granny Liao snorted coldly. "Explain. Is he worthy?" Ming Daiwan's expression immediately turned ugly. "Old hag. You?" Hu Liancheng lowered his head and suddenly asked Lin Lanlin, "Who are you to Ming Daiwan and care so much about him?" Lin Lanlin was so close to Hu Liancheng that her heart started to beat faster. She lowered her eyes and looked at Hu Liancheng from the angle she thought she was the most beautiful. She smiled. "I am the assistant of the chairman. It is my duty to care about the chairman." Xian Yun saw Lin Lanlin's pretentious look, and her eyes twitched. She turned her face and resisted the urge to rush over and hit her with her shoe. "Is that so?" At this moment, a voice as cold as a blade sounded. The corner of Hu Liancheng's mouth suddenly curled up into a cold arc. Chairman Ming is really lucky to have such a considerate assistant. Ming Daiwan did not know what Hu Liancheng meant by that. But no matter how slow he was, he could still feel the atmosphere. No. He knew very well that Hu Liancheng was not a busybody. Chen Zhengnian had always respected him. Why did such a sudden change happen today? Could it be that these two old things were really important people? Ming Daiwan thought about it, and could no longer care about how embarrassing it was to be slapped by a big black man earlier. He could not help but narrow his eyes and look at the two old men. At this time, he suddenly saw Xian Yun, who had been talking to the girl in the wheelchair, walk to the old lady's side. She intimately supported the old lady's arm. Ming Daiwan's eyelids twitched, and he suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. Lin Lanlin did not seem to be praising Hu Liancheng when she heard what Hu Liancheng said. Instead, it was full of ridicule. She gritted her teeth and braced herself to say again, "President Hu, look!" Before Lin Lanlin could finish, Xian Yun suddenly spoke. "Grandfather, Grandma, I think what this assistant lady said makes sense. The temperature outside is too high. Why don't we go in and rest first? Leave this to Liancheng." Xian Yun really did not want to see Lin Lanlin. That was why she said this on purpose. However, after saying this, almost everyone present was shocked. Especially Ming Daiwan. He only felt that his vision turned black, and he staggered and almost could not stand steadily. Lin Lanlin was even more shocked. She opened her mouth wide and looked at the two elders in disbelief. Then her face turned pale. Of course, she knew that these two elders could not be Jian Yun's grandparents. Then there was only one possibility. Lin Lanlin was so regretful that her intestines turned green. She was clearly trying to get close to these two old men just now. If Xian Yun did not give the wrong hint, she might have already gotten the favor of the two old men. How could she be like now? She was not on either side and was extremely embarrassed. It was all because of Jian Yun, this slut. She was definitely afraid that she would get the favor of the two elders and snatch Hu Liancheng away. That was why she pretended not to know the two elders just now. She mistakenly thought that the two elders were just servants of the Hu family. It caused her to lose so much face now. Lin Lanlin glared at Jian Yun with hatred. Her teeth were about to be crushed into pieces. No, it's impossible. Ming Daiwan's face had turned pale. He could no longer think about it, because he did not dare to think about the consequences of offending the Hu family, especially when he was the current patriarch of the Hu family. The guests behind Ming Daiwan had distanced themselves from Ming Daiwan and maintained their positions. They did not want to offend the Hu family because of a small Ming family. At this moment, the only people who stood with Ming Daiwan were Lin Lanlin and the few chairman's secretaries and bodyguards. Although Jian Yun wanted to help Granny Liao in, Granny Liao could not bear to give up the opportunity to watch the show. She patted Jian Yun's hand and calmly sat on the cold chair. Hu Liansheng stood there. Even though it was already the afternoon of summer, everyone felt the biting cold wind. President Hu, I don't know. Those two are Lin Lanlin was in a hurry to explain. She also wanted to cut ties with Ming Daiwan. No one paid attention to Lin Lanlin. Ming Daiwan wiped off his cold sweat and tried to explain to Hu Liancheng. Hu, young Master Hu, this is all a misunderstanding. I really don't know. Old Master Hu walked down steadily. His face was solemn, but his eyes were filled with disdain. Kid, so you're the manager of that dirty old bastard? This kind of company still doesn't close down. Do you want to keep it for the new year? Who was Old Master Hu? He was someone who could cause an earthquake in the business world with just a stomp of his foot in the capital. When he said these words, everyone looked at Ming Daiwan with sympathy. Old Master Ming, who was involved in this, had already lost his legs and collapsed on the ground. Hu, Elder Hu, I know I was wrong. Please, Ming Da said. Wan's expression changed. He didn't even catch his breath when he rolled his eyes. He fainted. Useless thing. How dare you curse my old woman? I can't bear to curse her. Old Master Hu snorted coldly. He threw out a declaration of love to his wife in a domineering manner. He completely ignored everyone present and turned around to leave. Hu Liancheng raised his head to look around, and his expression was cold and noble. Without saying a word, he left. Call an ambulance. Chen Zhengnian threw down a sentence and started to clean up the mess. The Ming family members came to their senses and hurriedly called an ambulance. They were in a mess. Lin Lanlin stood at the side, but her eyes were fixed on Hu Liancheng's back. No, this man was hers. Those guests of Ming Daiwan were restless at this moment. They tried to approach Old Master Hu and Hu Liancheng to talk, but they did not have the courage. They could only look at Ming Daiwan, who was still in a good mood, and was about to become the #1 family in the Green Lake, with sympathy. Everyone knew that even if Hu Liancheng didn't say anything, with Old Master Hu's words, everyone knew that the Mings was finished. Old Master Hu did not stay in the Qingyu city. He and Granny Liao took a car to the airport of the Hu family and left on a private plane. Hu Qingcheng stayed behind. Grandpa and Grandma left so quickly? Zhang Yun could not hide her surprise. She thought Old Master Hu and Granny Liao would stay in Green Lake for a while. Grandpa ran out of the hospital secretly. If he did not go back quickly, he would be scolded. Hu Qingcheng said with a smile. Didn't you say that grandfather is fine? Jian Yun looked at Hu Liancheng. His blood pressure is high, and he has not been able to lower it. Grandma is worried, so let Grandpa continue to stay in the hospital. Hu Liancheng held Jian Yun's hand and explained. He turned to Hu Qingcheng and asked, Where are we going now? Are we going to my house, or should I send you to Yinqi? Hu Qingcheng did not expect Hu Liancheng to be so direct and immediately blushed. The embarrassment on her palm-sized face was almost like a river. Big brother, what nonsense are you talking about? Why should I go to Yinqi? Hu Liancheng's expression did not change. Did Yinqi not tell you that he already told me everything? Zhang Yun could not help but facepalm when she heard him. Hu Liancheng's ability to lie through his teeth was really high. Those who were not mentally strong would be fooled by him. Indeed, Hu Qingcheng was fooled. Big brother, Hu Qingcheng wanted to explain, but her face was red with anxiety, but she could not speak for a long time. She twisted her hands in a hurry. Xian Yun covered her face at the side and gave Hu Qingcheng a signal. However, Hu Qingcheng was shocked by Hu Liancheng's aura and was too nervous. She did not dare to raise her head. Hey, Hu Liancheng, don't be like this. Look, Qingcheng is almost scared to tears by you. Xian Yun could not stand it. She pulled Hu Liancheng's arm and turned to comfort Hu Qingcheng. Qingcheng, don't be afraid. Your brother is not lecturing you. Sister. Hu Qingcheng's eyes were watery and she looked very wronged. Hu Liancheng still wanted to say something, but Xian Yun covered his mouth this time. She said to Hu Qingcheng's maid, Xia Wan, push Miss away. That little knight quickly pushed Hu Qingcheng's wheelchair and ran far away. Why don't you let me talk? Hu Liancheng took Xian Yun's hand. Didn't you see that Qingcheng is about to cry? It was windy here at the helipad. Xian Yun's hair was messed up and fell on her face. She tidied her hair in a flurry while looking at Hu Liancheng reproachfully. Xian Yun's eyes were beautiful to begin with. They were big and black. It was as if all the stars in the sky had fallen into these eyes. Under the contrast of the blue sky and white clouds, her eyes were watery and filled with spirit energy. She was looking forward to it. How could Hu Liancheng endure this kind of temptation? If he did not allow her to speak, he would not speak. He reached out and grabbed Xian Yun. He lowered his head and kissed her. Xian Yun was frightened and blinked her eyes desperately. She could not understand why Hu Liancheng suddenly kissed her when they were clearly discussing Hu Qingcheng's matter. But Xian Yun immediately relaxed. She reached out and wrapped her arms around Hu Liancheng's neck, closed her eyes, and responded to his kiss. When the long kiss ended, Xian Yun's face was as red as the morning sun. The water in her eyes almost overflowed. She looked up at Hu Liancheng and could not hide the smile on her lips. What are you laughing at? When Hu Liancheng saw Xian Yun like this, he immediately felt a surge of heat in his lower abdomen. Nothing. Xian Yun lowered her long eyelashes and buried her face in Hu Liancheng's chest. She remembered what happened at noon and could not help but ask him, What do you plan to do in Ming's? Of course I want to continue. Hu Liancheng raised his eyebrows and said seriously, Since we've already signed the contract, it is not good to break the contract. Xian Yun did not believe Hu Liancheng's words. Are you not afraid that your grandfather will be angry? He had clearly said it clearly today. Hu Liancheng pinched Xian Yun's face and said, What did he say? He did not say anything. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I don't care about the Mings. I came here to look for you. I also want to know about the market in East China. Just wait. It won't be long. Xian Yun blinked. She thought in her heart what Hu Liancheng said. It won't be long. It meant that he would leave soon. Or would the Hus be able to purchase the Mings soon? You don't know anything about business. Hu Liancheng held Xian Yun and changed the topic. Do you still feel dizzy today? No. Xian Yun shook her head. At this time, she also remembered that she promised Bei Zi to go to the hospital to get the test results yesterday. It seemed that she could not go today again. However, Xian Yun was not worried. Since Bei Zi said that everything was normal, then it would be the same when she would get the test results. Then, tonight. Hu Liancheng pinched the soft flesh on Xian Yun's waist. His dark eyes stared at her with a naked hint. Xian Yun could not help but pursed her lips. She reached out and pinched Hu Liancheng's nose. She smiled and pretended to be stupid. I want to sleep with Qingcheng tonight. You dare. Hu Liancheng pretended to be angry and wanted to catch Xian Yun. Xian Yun had already run far away while laughing. In the car, Hu Qingcheng saw Xian Yun running over and immediately grabbed her hand nervously. Big sister, does Big Brother really know everything? Xian Yun sighed. It was not like she could say that Hu Liancheng did not have evidence. It was just a guess. Hu Qingcheng's words just now were also intentional, so she could only nod her head. Then isn't Big Brother very angry? Hu Qingcheng was about to cry. No. Xian Yun comforted Hu Qingcheng, don't be nervous. Go back and find a time to have a good talk with your brother. Hu Qingcheng's little face was twisted together. I'm afraid he will object. Let's talk about it first. Xian Yun patted Hu Qingcheng's hand. Actually, Hu Liancheng had told Xian Yun that he did not want to interfere with Hu Qingcheng's feelings. Furthermore, although the Yin family was not a wealthy family, it was still a reputable family. Yinchi was not unworthy of Hu Qingcheng. It was just that he was worried that his parents would not agree. Furthermore, Xian Yun was also worried that Hu Qingcheng was only grateful for Yin Qi's care, which was why she had been in love for a long time. If she recovered and continued to study and work in the future, she would definitely meet more people. If she found out that Yin Qi was not true love, then it would be a blow to both sides. Big sister, are you not optimistic about the relationship between brother Yin and me? Who? Qingcheng asked. No, everyone has the right to pursue their own love. But sometimes love is not as long as two people like each other. There are many things to worry about. Xian Yun said in a low voice. Sister, do you mean that our family background and status do not match? Hu Qingcheng's eyes were a little confused. Big sister, don't be angry when I ask you a question. Xian Yun was extremely smart and immediately guessed what Hu Qingcheng wanted to say. She shook her head and said seriously, You want to say that your brother and I do not have a family background equal, but we are also together, right? Hu Qingcheng bit her lips and lowered her head. Xian Yun said in a deep voice, But Qingcheng, you must understand a little. Do you have the courage of your brother? He can resist all the doubts and blows and give me a stable life. Can you? If your parents oppose you and Yin Qi being together, can you resist them? I can. Hu Qingcheng said. Xian Yun patted Hu Qingcheng's hand. Don't be in a hurry to answer. Think about it carefully and then talk to your brother. Listen to his opinion and attitude. Hu Qingcheng nodded. She understood that Xian Yun was right. Hu Liancheng had the ability to resist, but not only was her body broken, but her world was also less than a normal person's for 6 years. Although her relationship with her mother was very stiff now, she still relied on the Hu family to survive. Once her parents cut off her source of income, she did not know how to survive. What right did she have to talk about love like this? Big brother, big brother. Hu Qingcheng was at a loss. When she looked up, she suddenly realized that Hu Liansheng had arrived at some unknown time. At this moment, he was standing outside the car door. She did not know how long he had been standing there. She did not hear her conversation with Jian Yun. Xian Yun found that Hu Liancheng looked at her gently. She smiled. Hu Liancheng looked at Hu Qingcheng and did not say anything. He got into the car, turned the key, and drove. No one spoke along the way. Hu Liancheng first sent Xian Yun back to school. When Jian Yun got out of the car, she saw Hu Qingcheng staring at her with a conflicted and nervous expression, as if she was very afraid of Hu Liancheng. She could only smile encouragingly at her. When she entered the office, Jian Yun sent Hu Liansheng a text message. Speak properly. Don't scare Qingcheng. Hu Liansheng quickly replied, understood. Jian Yun saw that there was still some time before class, so she quickly took the time to lie down and rest. After class in the afternoon, Jian Yun took out her phone and found Wu Wenjing's WeChat message. Jian Yun, what exactly is going on? Why is the chairman in the hospital? I heard from the higher-ups that the higher-ups are in a mess. I heard that the chairman offended President Hu at the Peach Blossom Dock in the afternoon. Is that so? Wenjing sent a voice message. Her voice sounded very excited, as if she was afraid that the world would not be in chaos. Yes, but he did not offend Hu Liancheng, but Old Master Hu and Granny Liao. There was someone in the office, so Jian Yun could not send a voice message, so she typed and sent it over. Wenjing said, Oh my god. Jian Yun said, Hu Liancheng did not go to the company? Wenjing said, No, you didn't see it. Those few Ming family members who were usually high and mighty are now all like dead dogs. Their faces are all gray. Ha, vent your anger. Xian Yun. Wenjing said, Right, Jian Yun, tell me, is President Hu leaving the Mings this time? Old Man Ming had eyes, but no eyes. He actually provoked the god of wealth. As long as the Hu family makes a slight move, this kind of lousy company like the Mings will go bankrupt at any time. Xian Yun said, I don't know. I didn't ask. But why are you so happy when the Mings is bankrupt? Have you found your next home? Wenjing replied, Yes. I plan to go to the Hong Kong prefecture to participate in the beauty contest. Xian Yun sent an emoji of rolling her eyes. It would be weird if I believe you. This time, Wu Wenjing only replied after a long time. Xian Yun, wait a few days if you have time. Accompany me to the hospital. What are we going to do? Xian Yun frowned. I've thought it through. We can't have children. Wenjing's tone was very calm. I can't destroy his family, and I don't want my child to have no father. While it is still young, and I don't have any feelings for him, I quickly do it. Otherwise, if it continues to drag on, I definitely won't be able to bear it. I can't advise you to do this kind of thing. as long as you can figure it out yourself. Jian Yun could not help but sigh in her heart. She understood that Wu Wenjing's parents divorced when she was young and grew up with her grandmother. She desperately wanted the love that came from her parents, that came from a complete family, so she did not want her children to live in a family that lacked love like her. Jian Yun thought about it and asked again, "Then does he know about your pregnancy?" Wenjing said, "He does not know. I did not tell him, and I also do not intend to tell him." This time, it is completely cut off. After chatting with Wu Wenjing, Jian Yun did not leave immediately. Instead, she sat alone in the office, feeling a little depressed. Other than Mo Xwellen, who went to Australia to study, the four of them had never been interested in the matter of their son and daughter. She, Lu Yanyan, and Wu Wenjing had more or less been injured on the way to love. Now it seemed that she was lucky to meet Hu Liansheng. Just as she was thinking about it, Jian Yun noticed that her phone rang. She thought that Hu Liansheng had come to pick her up, so she quickly picked it up. When she looked at it, she found that it was Bai Zi calling. "Hello, Director Bai? Are you free now?" Bai Zi asked in a low voice. "I just got off work. I'm in my office," Jian Yun said. "He went to pick you up?" Bai Zi asked. "Yes." Jian Yun thought Bai Zi still urged her to get the test sheet. "Director Bai, I have nothing to do tomorrow. I will go and find you." Bai Zi smiled. "No need. I am in Tianlai now. If you have something to do, I'll pass you the test sheet. I don't want you to run so far away from the hospital." Although Jian Yun was puzzled, she did not know why Bai Zi was in such a hurry to give her the test sheet. It was as if this test sheet was very important, but she still asked politely, "Okay, where are you?" "I will go right away. It is outside your office." While they were talking, Jian Yun heard someone knocking on the door. When she looked up, she saw Bao Zi, who had taken off his white coat, wearing a simple shirt and pants, appearing in front of her. Jian Yun was surprised. She put down her phone and walked over to him immediately. Her face was full of smiles. "How did you know my office was here?" "I just happened to meet a teacher. He treated my illness in our hospital before and asked me the way." Bai Zi put away his phone and adjusted his glasses. "Sit down." Jian Yun poured Bai Zi a glass of water and teased, "Director Bai, if I didn't ask you in advance and saw that you were in such a hurry to send me the test sheet, I would have thought that I had some strange illness. You are not sick. Your body is very healthy." Bai Zi took the cup of water and put it on the table. He took out a folded square piece of paper from his pocket. He opened it and handed it to Jian Yun. There was a strange look on his face. "It is just Jian Yun. Haven't you felt any changes in your body recently?" "No. I can eat and sleep, except sometimes I feel dizzy." Jian Yun took the test sheet and glanced at it. They were all medical terms. Some could understand and some could not understand. She did not pay much attention to them. She casually placed the test sheet on the table. Bao Zi's expression became even more strange. He tapped the table and signaled Jian Yun to look at one of them. "What is it?" Jian Yun looked at where Bai Zi was pointing and could not help frowning. "CG? What does that mean?" Bai Zi narrowed his eyes. "HCG means Human Edelweiss Promotion Adenine. This indicator tells you that you are pregnant." Jian Yun was stunned. She shook her head as if she had heard a joke. "Impossible. I can't be pregnant." Bai Zi looked at Jian Yun quietly. "Nothing is impossible. Your blood sample will not be wrong. But we always have contraceptives." Jian Yun heard such an explosive news. Her mind had long been muddled. She subconsciously denied Bai Zi's words. But halfway through her words, she realized that it was inappropriate to talk about her boudoir with Bai Zi, so she quickly stopped. Bai Zi lowered his head and pretended to cough to cover up his embarrassment. "Well, there are accidents in everything. Also, you can also judge based on your period." Bai Zi's words were very vague. At this time, Jian Yun also remembered that she had not had her period for a long time. "Although I am not an obstetrician, the things that I need to pay attention to when I am pregnant are basically the things I told you yesterday. Don't eat when you are cold, take a rest, don't carry heavy objects, and don't exercise intensely," including Bai Zi put his fist to his mouth and coughed twice. He said, "Including the marriage, it is best not to be together for the first 3 months. This is all. If you are worried, you can take the time to go to the hospital." "Jian Yun, do you hear me?" Jian Yun suddenly shivered and came back to her senses. She quickly nodded. "I heard you. Thank you, Director Bai." "Don't call me Director Bai. Call me Bai Zi." Bai Zi thought Jian Yun was too surprised to hear that she was pregnant, That was why she was in a daze. He could not help but feel a little bitter. He had been thinking that if Hu Liancheng did not appear when Jian Yun was at her wit's end, he would not be able to help her. Then, would she accept his help, or even? But there was no ifs in this world. Isn't it not good to call you by your name directly? You are Yanren's uncle. Xian Yun blinked and tried hard to calm down her heart, which was beating too fast. You mean to call me by seniority? Then Yanren calls me uncle. Don't you want to call me grandpa? Bai Zi put on an expression that could not stand it. Am I that old? Xian Yun could not help but laugh and joked. All right then. Today, I still have to thank Grandpa for his concern. You and Yanren are classmates. Now that we are a family, I naturally have to care about you. Bai Zi said it in a dignified manner. In fact, only he himself knew how bitter his words were. All right. I still have things to do. I have to go. Xian Yun, are we going out together? Bai Zi asked. No. I'll wait for Hu Liancheng. I think he'll be here in a while. Xian Yun smiled. Bai Zi nodded. He stood up and walked to the door. Suddenly, he seemed to remember something. He took out a small bottle from his pocket and came back to pass it to Jian Yun. Right. You're just pregnant, you need a compound vitamin. I got it for you at the hospital pharmacy. Here you go. And your blood sugar is a little low? Just be careful. Thank you. Jian Yun took the bottle. I'm leaving. Bai Zi nodded and left. He was afraid that if he did not leave, Xian Yun would suspect him. He specially came over with the test results and vitamins, but he just wanted to take a second look at her. He had also gone to the dinner that night. When he saw Jian Yun appear on the stage to perform on the piano, because she was already married and had not seen her for a long time, his suppressed thoughts started to move again. Only the day before yesterday, when he met her in the hospital, did he realize that he had never forgotten this girl. However, so what if he could not forget? She was already someone else's wife and had another man's flesh and blood. She probably wouldn't have any chance in this life. Xian Yun watched Bai Zi's figure disappear. She had no time to think about why Bai Zi cared so much about her. At this moment, there was only shock in her heart. Pregnant? Was she really pregnant? Hu Liancheng's measures were so good, but she was pregnant. It sounded like she was dreaming. But after the initial disbelief and excitement, Jian Yun's heart was filled with anxiety. She looked at the test sheet and frowned, because she remembered what Hu Liancheng said before. He had made his stand several times and did not want to have children. Even though she was acting coquettishly and crying, he did not change his mind. He pampered her so much that he could agree to anything. The only thing he could do was to have children. His stance was especially firm. Although Hu Liancheng had already clarified that it was not because of Chen Xinran that he had made such a decision, Jian Yun still felt that Hu Liancheng should have hidden something. Xian Yun suddenly felt a little hesitant. She was very conflicted whether she should tell Hu Liancheng this news or not. She did not dare to predict what kind of reaction he would have if he insisted on not having children. Then what should she do? Would he agree? No. Impossible. Jian Yun subconsciously touched her lower abdomen, and fear flashed through her heart. This was her and his child. Since it had come, she would not give up. Xian Yun did not know how long she had been sitting there. She had thought about countless things in her heart until she received a call from Hu Liancheng. I'm here. Hu Liancheng's voice was very gentle. It was filled with love. I'll be right there. Xian Yun hung up the phone. She folded the test sheet and put it into the secret compartment of her bag. She had already made a decision in her heart. It was summer now. Although it was almost 6 o'clock, the sky was still very bright. There were a few people who looked like students coming and going in and out of the entrance of Tianla School. There were a lot of people on the streets. The smell of the camphorget tree was very strong. Hu Liancheng saw Jian Yun and immediately got out of the car to welcome her. There is something delayed. Are you in a hurry? Jian Yun shook her head. I did not wait long. After getting into the car, Hu Liancheng noticed that Jian Yun had been looking at him intentionally, or unintentionally. He could not help but raise his eyebrows. Is there something you need to tell me? Jian Yun was shocked and subconsciously shook her head. No. Really not? Hu Liancheng squinted his eyes and stopped the car while waiting for the red light. He turned his head to look at Jian Yun. Jian Yun could not hide anything from him, but she had to calm down before she could figure out what Hu Liancheng was thinking. So even though she felt guilty, she still pretended to be at a loss and shook her head firmly. No. Why did Bai Zi look for you? Hu Liancheng's eyes lit up and suddenly asked, How? How did you know Bao Zi was here? Jian Yun felt her heart tremble, and her voice trembled. The first thought was whether Hu Liancheng knew about it. But then she reacted. He definitely didn't know. If he knew she was pregnant, then, whether he liked it or not, he wouldn't be like that. I saw him come out of school. Hu Liancheng looked at Jian Yun. The green light on the right side of the street was flashing. He slowly stepped on the gas. Did you see him come out of the school? Jian Yun was puzzled. But Bai Zi has been walking for more than 20 minutes. You just arrived. How could you see Bai Zi? Hu Liancheng asked. You don't believe me? Jian Yun quickly shook her head. No. Maybe he met someone he knew and chatted with them for a while? She paused. She saw that Hu Liancheng was still looking at her and knew that he was petty. She explained, he passed by here because he had something to do. He also brought me the blood test results from the blood test the day before yesterday. Hu Liancheng reached out his hand. Where is the test results? Let me take a look. Jian Yun heard him and was so scared that her heart was in her throat. She was nervous and wanted to reject him. At this time, the car horn behind her sounded. She hurriedly pointed in front and urged, the lights are green. Let's go. Hu Liancheng looked away from Jian Yun and the car drove out. Why did he send it personally? After a while, Hu Liancheng suddenly asked, I didn't have time to go. It just so happened that he passed the test sheet to me along the way. Jian Yun felt a little guilty. She lowered her head and twisted her hands. She thought about it and added, except for a little low blood sugar. It's normal. On the way home, Jian Yun did not say anything. She was conflicted. What if Hu Liancheng wanted to see the test sheet again after he went home? Hu Liancheng, Jian Yun suddenly called out in silence. Huh? Hu Liancheng looked at Jian Yun. The afterglow of the setting sun shone through the window and landed on his face. Half of his face was dyed gold, and the other half was hidden in the shadows. The angular side of his face seemed to have a fatal attraction. Jian Yun's heart skipped a beat. She grabbed the belt of her bag with both hands and fixed her black eyes on Hu Liancheng's eyes. She said softly, Let's have a child. Hu Liancheng, let's have a child. Jian Yun looked into Hu Liancheng's eyes and said softly. Hu Liancheng quickly looked at Jian Yun and then looked away. There was no change in his expression, but his tone was helpless. Duoer, why did you mention this again? We agreed not to mention it. I'm serious. I want to get pregnant. I want our child. Jian Yun was anxious to clarify Hu Liancheng's attitude. She wanted to know what he was thinking. If she told him now that she was pregnant, would he accept it? Duoer, are you not happy when we are together? Why do you have to create trouble? Hu Liancheng frowned. Clearly, he did not like Jian Yun bringing up this topic. How can the child be trouble? Jian Yun really did not understand why Hu Liancheng hated children so much. She was a little emotional. A family without children is incomplete. Hu Liancheng was silent. He seemed to be concentrating on driving, but Jian Yun knew that he did not want to continue this topic. Jian Yun bit her lips and slowed down her tone. She stared at Hu Liancheng's side profile. Can you think about it a little more? Sure. Hu Liancheng replied. However, Jian Yun could hear the perfunctory tone in his voice. She could not help but raise her head and lean against the chair. Her face was also facing the window, and her eyes were full of disappointment. It seemed that she could not tell him about her pregnancy for the time being. The entire way was silent. When they arrived home, Jian Yun did not want to bother with Hu Liancheng and went straight back to her room. Hu Qingcheng came knocking on the door and asked her to come downstairs to eat. Only then did she leave the room. The atmosphere at the table was also very strange. Jian Yun lowered her head to eat her own food. Hu Qingcheng was distracted the entire time. Hu Liancheng's face was as cold as usual. After the meal, the butler and the maid who served by the side could not help wiping the cold sweat. It was clearly summer, but the dining hall seemed to be in winter and did not need to turn on the cold air. Big sister. Hu Qingcheng saw that Jian Yun was about to leave after the meal and hurriedly called her. Can you accompany me to the garden for a walk? Yes. Jian Yun deliberately ignored Hu Liancheng's gaze on her and turned around to push Hu Qingcheng's wheelchair out. When they reached the garden, Hu Qingcheng looked back and saw that no one came over. She then grabbed Jian Yun's hand and asked, Big sister, did you and big brother fight? No. Jian Yun was a little stunned. When she heard that, she only shook her head. Why do you ask? I saw that you guys didn't talk when you were eating. I was still looking at you. Hu Qingcheng was helpless. Don't you feel a chill on your back? Jian Yun could not help but laugh. We did not quarrel, but there is one thing that does not agree with each other. What about you? After I left in the afternoon, did your brother criticize you? Hu Qingcheng's small face fell, and she nodded gloomily. Yes. What did you say? Jian Yun pushed Hu Qingcheng to the side of the greenhouse and found a wooden chair to sit on. She supported her chin with her hand and excitedly waited for Hu Qingcheng to continue. Big brother is more or less the same as you said. I need to consider whether or not I love Brother Yin, or whether it is because I am grateful for his company that I have a different feeling. Hu Qingcheng sighed. Her eyes stared at the horizon and slowly became deeper. She continued, although I firmly believe that I really like Brother Yin, I also know that saying this now does not make you believe me. So I thought about it. I will discuss with Brother Yin and temporarily will not disclose our relationship. If he is willing to wait for me to recover and wait for me to walk out of this haze. I will prove it to everyone. Then, do you think Yin Qi will be willing to wait for you? Jian Yun raised her brows. Hu Qingcheng's expression when she said this was very firm, like Hu Liancheng. They were indeed the Hu family. I don't know. Hu Qingcheng's eyelids drooped. There was a trace of uncertainty in her voice. Let's see how he chooses. I will not force him. If he cannot wait, then it can only prove that we are not fated. Jian Yun nodded. Now, looking at it, it can only be like this. Rather than taking the risk for uncertainty in the future, it's better to be the best yourself. Actually, although Jian Yun said so, she was still a little worried in her heart. In the current society, everything is fast. Love is also the same. If it fits, it will be together. If it doesn't, it will be separated. Many people's views on love are already so casual. Then, was Yin Qi really willing to wait for Hu Qingcheng? Big sister, did Big brother make you unhappy? Hu Qingcheng was very sensitive and noticed that Jian Yun was absent-minded all night. She held Jian Yun's hand and seemed to be hesitating. In the end, she could not help but say, Big sister, don't mind Big brother's attitude. He has been very busy recently and very tired. The matters in the family are already enough for him to endure. That person started to act like a demon again. Jian Yun naturally knew that the person Hu Qingcheng was talking about was Hu Chengfeng. Although she had only met Hu Chengfeng once, she could often hear the appearance of this name. She could not help but ask the doubts in her heart. Qingcheng, isn't your big brother the general manager of the Hus? But he stays at the Green Lake every day. Doesn't he need to care about the matters of the Hus? Doesn't that mean he is in a passive position? Jian Yun had asked Hu Liancheng this question before, but even though that fellow had an explanation, Jian Yun still felt that it was not the truth. Hu Qingcheng was silent for a moment before she spoke. Big sister, the reason why Big brother did not tell you was because he was afraid that you would be worried. Actually, the Hus has been fighting for a long time. Or is Hu Chengfeng fighting for power? Jian Yun asked. Hu Qingcheng shook her head. Not only him, but also the shareholders and the branch of Hu family. Grandpa is getting old. He is not in good health. My father took over the Hus, but he has always been obsessed with art and is not a businessman. The benefits of the Hus in his hands have been declining. Those shareholders have a lot of opinions about this. My grandfather, who is also my grandfather's younger brother, has started to fight for power. Jian Yun learned about the current situation of the Hus from Hu Qingcheng. Simply put, after old Master Ho retired due to illness, Hu Xianqian, who took over the Hus, was criticized for his lack of ability. 7 years ago, Hu Xianqian failed to invest in the resort and suffered a huge loss. He was impeached by the shareholders and wanted him to resign from his position as the president of Huos. If old Master Hu did not come from the hospital to stop him, Hu Liancheng would have made a military order to turn the tide. Then the leader of the Hus might not be the Hu family's eldest son. Hu Liancheng's military order was within a year. Not only was he going to recover the losses caused by Hu Xianqian's business, but he was also going to increase the benefits of Hus by 20. It sounded very scary. The Hus was such a big company. A single point increase in profits was enough to open a company, let alone 20%. It was obvious that the shareholders were making things difficult for Hu Liancheng. But he did it. However, after this incident, the Hu family's position in the Hus was not so stable, especially when Hu Xianqian was not willing to give up the position of president. Later, Hu Liancheng and Hu Qingcheng got into a car accident, and Hu Qingcheng became a vegetative state. Shen Fouangqi's indulgence of Hu Chengfeng made Hu Liancheng disheartened. Sister, I've been in a coma for 6 years. Many things have happened in these 6 years. The Hus is now an abyss, a quagmire. It was only later that I found out that my brother had a hard time carrying it all by himself, but he never said anything about it. Hu Qingcheng lowered her voice and seemed to be immersed in her memories. But even if I woke up now, I wouldn't be able to help at all. I might even be a burden to Big Brother. Don't say that. Your brother wouldn't think so. Your awakening is the greatest gift from the heavens. Xian Yun pinched Hu Qingcheng's hand. Hu Qingcheng had recently grown some flesh, and her hand was not as skinny as before. You don't know, big sister. How much pressure does Big Brother have? I know he has long been disheartened by the Whos, but because of his promise to grandfather, he has no choice but to persevere. Otherwise, the Whos' 100 years of foundation will be destroyed. Hu Qingcheng continued. So many people rely on the Whos Corporation to live. If the Whos is divided, who knows how many companies will close down, and more people will lose their jobs. Then why doesn't your father let Hu Liancheng be the CEO? Xian Yun was puzzled. Since Hu Qingcheng said that Hu Xiangqian was not a businessman and preferred art, and even made such a big mistake, then he should give up. I'm not sure. Hu Qingcheng looked up at Jian Yun and sighed. Maybe it is because he has been in power for a long time and cannot bear to let go. Or maybe he wants to gamble to prove his ability. There was another possibility that Hu Qingcheng did not say it out loud. She always felt that her father did not give up his position because he was bewitched by Shen Fangqi. Shen Fangqi felt that it was because Shen Fangka felt that her father did not give up his position because he was bewitched by Shen Fangqi. Shen Fangqi felt that she owed Hu Chengfeng, so she had worked hard for Hu Chengfeng in the open and in the dark for so many years. Hu Chengfeng was able to rise so quickly in Hu's these few years. His own ability was part of it, but most of it was because Shen Fangqi was helping him. Otherwise, with his background that could not be put on the surface, it was impossible for him to enter the core of Hu's corporation. If the president of the Whos was replaced, especially since this man was the son of Hu Liancheng, whom Shen Fangqi couldn't control, it was imaginable how important she and Hu Chengfeng were in the Whos. They would definitely be suppressed to the point where they would never be able to turn the situation around. However, although Hu Qingcheng did not say it out loud, the change in her expression and the complicated look in her eyes could not be deceived. Jian Yun knew that Hu Qingcheng must have thought of her mother. However, Jian Yun was smart enough to not ask anything. To Hu Liancheng and Hu Qingcheng's siblings, Shen Fangqi's mother was extremely unqualified. But blood was thicker than water. No matter what, Shen Fangqi was a fact that their mother could not be denied, so it made people feel even more uncomfortable. However, Jian Yun felt that this matter was very strange. No matter how Shen Fangqi helped Hu Chengfeng, as the current president of Hu's Hu Xiangqian, should not let her go so easily. Wasn't this doing evil for the tiger? After chatting with Hu Qingcheng, Jian Yun returned to her bedroom. The sky was already completely dark. She felt sticky and uncomfortable, so she went to take a bath. However, Hu Qingcheng's words kept echoing in her mind. So Jian Yun only knew that the Hu family was a big family, but she did not know how big it was. After knowing Hu Liancheng, he did not explain much to her. Today, Jian Yun learned from Hu Qingcheng that Hu family was rooted in China, and the company headquarters were in the capital. It was only in the past few decades that they shifted their focus to the US. The company in the US was growing stronger, and there were signs of it surpassing the headquarters in the capital. The outside world now thought that the US was the main company. The Whos was doing business, but Granny Liao's maternal family was in the army. If they stomped their feet in the capital, it would cause a huge earthquake. No wonder Ming Daiwan and the other important guests who came from the capital looked so frightened when they heard about Granny Liao's identity. Once such a family fell apart, not only would the internal structure of the family be affected, but even the economy might be affected as there were too many people and families that relied on it to survive. When Jian Yun thought of this, she could not help but sigh. She scooped up a handful of water and poured it on her face, making her mind clear a little. Only then did she know why Hu Liancheng did not return to the Hu's headquarters. On one hand, he wanted to find her. On the other hand, Hu Xiangqian did not want to give up his position. As a result, Hu Liancheng could not use his strength. He simply started his own company and only had the title of general manager in the Whos. On the other hand, it was probably because he did not want to see his mother go all out to protect the murderer. She even allowed him to steal things that did not belong to him. Or perhaps he wanted to wait and see how far Hu Chengfeng and Shen Fangqi could go. Jian Yun did not soak for a while and felt a little suffocated. She suddenly remembered that she was pregnant now and did not dare to be careless. She quickly got up carefully and dried her body. She put on her clothes and left the bathroom. Just as she came out, Jian Yun's vision turned black. She actually met Hu Liansheng face to face. Hu Liansheng was taking off his shirt. Half of his strong chest was already exposed. His arms that showed his strength emitted strong hormones along with his movements. Seeing Jian Yun come out, Hu Liansheng took off his shirt and stared at her. Jian Yun did not say anything. She walked over and reached out to take off Hu Liansheng's belt. Hu Liansheng raised his eyebrows without batting an eyelid. He seemed very surprised. On the way back, Jian Yun was obviously unhappy because they were discussing about the child again. She did not even look at him during dinner. Why did she feel better after chatting with Hu Qingcheng for a while? Why are you looking at me? After Jian Yun untied Hu Liansheng's belt and saw that Hu Liansheng was staring at her, she also raised her eyebrows. Are you not angry? She asked. Hu Liansheng asked. I am. Jian Yun lowered her eyelids and pushed Hu Liansheng. Take a bath first. After Hu Liansheng finished his bath and came out, Jian Yun was sitting by the bed. She was holding her phone and chatting with someone on WeChat. Who are you chatting with? Yan Yan? Jian Yun put down her phone and answered casually. She looked back and saw Hu Liansheng walking towards her with a towel around his waist and water dripping from his hair. Even though Jian Yun was used to seeing Hu Liansheng naked, she could not help but feel her body heat up and her face turn red. Hu Liansheng naturally liked the way Jian Yun was mesmerized by him. He wiped the water off her short hair and untied the towel in front of Jian Yun. Hey, you are a hooligan. Jian Yun quickly turned her head and was embarrassed to look again. Hu Liansheng did not care about Jian Yun's objection. He had already rushed over. Jian Yun felt dizzy from the kiss, and when she suddenly reacted, her clothes were already gone. She hurriedly pushed Hu Liansheng. No, not tonight. Hu Liansheng propped himself up and looked down at Jian Yun. Why not? Jian Yun avoided her eyes. I am not comfortable. Where do you feel uncomfortable? Hu Liansheng became nervous when he heard this. He carefully checked Jian Yun's body. Jian Yun felt even more embarrassed when Hu Liansheng looked at her like this. However, her mind was blank and she could not think of any excuses. This reason did not make sense either. However, knowing that she was pregnant, Jian Yun did not dare to let Hu Liansheng do it again. She could only act coquettishly. I'm a little tired. Can you not do it? Tell me not to do it now? Hu Liansheng's handsome face turned green. But Jian Yun still wanted to find an excuse. Hu Liansheng kissed her, just once, okay? Then be gentle. Jian Yun gritted her teeth and finally compromised. After it was over, Hu Liansheng laid on Jian Yun's body. He was a bit depressed. What happened to you tonight? I've never seen you so spoiled before. Jian Yun felt guilty and did not dare to look into Hu Liansheng's eyes. I'm a little tired after talking about it. Hu Liansheng narrowed his eyes and reached out to pinch Jian Yun's chin to let her look at him. Is there something you're hiding from me? Jian Yun's heart jumped and she subconsciously shook her head. No. What can I hide from you? But I think you have something on your mind. Hu Liansheng patted Jian Yun's face. He had long seen that Jian Yun's mood was not right, but he had thought about it all. He only remembered that he was in the car in the afternoon. They had only discussed the matter of not wanting children, but this topic had been mentioned before. Hu Liansheng did not think that it would affect Jian Yun. Jian Yun's heart moved. She blinked her eyes and decided to probe. Hu Liansheng, have you thought about it? If I was really pregnant, what would you do? Hu Liansheng seemed to have heard a joke and denied it. Impossible. There are measures every time. How could you be pregnant? What if? Jian Yun stared at Hu Liansheng nervously. Her heart was beating so fast that it was about to explode. There is no 100% certainty in everything. What if? Then it will be an abortion. Hu Liansheng interrupted Jian Yun's words. His eyes suddenly became dangerous and gloomy. It was especially scary in the dark night. Jian Yun's words were stuck in her throat. Her small thoughts of joy were completely scattered by Hu Liansheng's cold and heartless words. At this moment, Jian Yun felt as if her heart was frozen. However, Jian Yun still did not want to believe it. She paused, as if she was struggling in her deathbed, but she desperately pretended to be careless. If I'm really pregnant, are you really willing to let me abort the child? I heard that the abortion is very painful. Hu Liansheng frowned. He always felt that Jian Yun would not say these words for no reason tonight. So who said anything in front of her? Or Hu Liansheng felt that the first possibility was more likely. It's more painful to have a baby, and it's dangerous. I don't want you to take that risk. Hu Liansheng saw Zhang Yun's body was full of despair and disappointment. He could not help but soften his tone. If you feel lonely by yourself, why don't we have a dog to accompany you? What kind of logic was this? Zhang Yun angrily stared at Hu Liansheng, her face full of disbelief. You would rather have a dog than have your own child? Can you stop messing around? Hu Liansheng's face was gloomy. His eyes flashed, and he said, For my own good? Xian Yun suddenly raised her voice, and her eyes were filled with anger. You don't want me to give birth, and you want me to abort when you are pregnant. This is called doing this for my own good. Hu Liansheng, what are you thinking? Hu Liansheng also propped himself up and sat on the bed. He looked at Jian Yun, and his brows were tightly knitted. He seemed to be angry, but he still suppressed his irritation and coaxed her. If you really like children, we can adopt one. The more Jian Yun heard, the more ridiculous she felt. Hu Liansheng, are you sick? You would rather adopt someone else's child than have your own child? Hu Liansheng looked at Jian Yun calmly. No matter what you think, I will not let you get pregnant. Even if there is a chance, if you really get pregnant, go and have an abortion while it is still early. Hu Liansheng, you. Jian Yun was angry and anxious. She grabbed the blanket tightly and wanted to scold him, but in the end, she bit her lips and swallowed her words back. Since she had already said that, what else could she say? Sigh. Hu Liansheng seemed to want to say something, but he did not continue. He went into the bathroom. Jian Yun heard the sound of water coming from inside. All the strength in her body suddenly seemed to have been sucked away. She tightly bit her fingers, and her expression was stiff. What should she do? Hu Liansheng's attitude was so firm. If he knew that she was pregnant, he might really force her to abort. But Jian Yun would never agree. She wanted this child so badly. She would never hurt it. In that case, she could only hide it from Hu Liansheng. However, how long could she hide it from the two of them? Once she got pregnant, she would definitely not be able to hide it. Shen Yun bit her finger. In an instant, countless thoughts had already passed through her mind. At this time, the bathroom door opened. Hu Liansheng took a shower. His body was still covered in water vapor. He quietly walked to the bed and used the warm towel in his hand to help Jian Yun clean up. Caught off guard, Jian Yun's body suddenly trembled. She turned her head and happened to bump into Hu Liansheng's deep eyes. She was getting more and more confused. The man in front of her loved her so much and pampered her. Even if she was bitten by a mosquito, he would be nervous and distressed for a long time. Why did he dislike the mention of having a child so much? He even said that he wanted her to abort as soon as possible. Previously, Jian Yun thought that Hu Liansheng died of childbirth because Chen Xianran wanted to give him a child. So he did not want to have a child, but later it turned out that this was a fictitious matter. Then what was the reason why he was so determined?